Okay, so AI is an exciting tool. In the case of accessibility, it is being used to various amounts and with various outcomes in the development of web content, as a content testing tool, as an assistive technology or part of one, and on behalf of people, including people with disabilities. And the gamut of capabilities, as Dom said, is changing all the time, but here are some things that it can be good at. It can be good at generating alt text, including having a conversation about an image, and it can be good at general speech recognition, although we're going to come back to both of these points. Generally, it's not pretty good at detecting accessibility failures, nor is it at coding accessible widgets. But when we are talking about how to assess how AI is doing, in terms of spec review, spec development, we've got things like our horizontal review process, which of course may change over time to include things like sustainability, perhaps in future, but we've got an established mature process for horizontal review. We've also got the web design principles, and we've got the ethical principles of web machine learning. When we are talking about content review, we've got the principles of ethical principles of web machine learning, and we've got WCAG, of course. And from last year and since last year, there's been discussion about how we might, if we can, and how we might benchmark different models' performance against each other or against other solutions that we might have available. So some general accessibility challenges outside of AI have always been content authors' lack of awareness and exclusion of disabled people, people with disabilities, from being able to contribute and make content. And it's possible that AI could both amplify or help us solve these challenges, although I've only got time to really focus on the first of these in this talk. But I wanted to put across some really important concepts that you may have heard of, but this is in the context of accessibility. So imagine that you are watching the television or a video or something in a loud environment, and so you can't hear it, so you turn on the captions and you get captions. Now, if captions or some output, it doesn't matter what it is generated at runtime or, let's say, on demand without human involvement, then the burden of verifying the accuracy of that output is shifted to the person that's least able to do so. So in this case, you're asking somebody that can't hear the audio to verify the captions. So this is a really critical concept and relates especially to accessibility, but is a general one as well that you may have heard of. So when we think about the time at which these tools might be used, we've got authoring time, and we could have, for example, a tool where the user has uploaded some content and they are asked, does this description fit your content? And that can be really helpful because it's generally pretty good at doing a description, or it can be, but it gives the author the opportunity to refine that and really make it clear what they wanted to put across with this image. And it raises awareness with the author that people exist out there with different needs, and this is helping them to cater for those needs. So if we contrast this at runtime, we can either generate a description at runtime or perhaps be going off a description that was already provided. But the really empowering thing when it works is that you can ask questions about the image, and the author can't anticipate all the questions the user might have, and there are some really empowering examples of this being used. Again, concerns about verification notwithstanding. I wanted to show an example of something that you may not have come across before. This kind of sits between authoring time and runtime in the sense that this is a tool which is designed for making legacy documents accessible, and particularly the highly specialized subject of chemical molecular diagrams. This is called autocomplete, and it takes as input an image from an inaccessible legacy document of a molecule, and it uses machine learning to figure out what molecule that might be. and it's guided by the user who can choose, yes, it's this one or it's this other one. And then, once you've got that semantically available to you, the tool can then, not necessarily using machine learning, but generate lots of different variants of this diagram, including ones tailored for people with various different vision impairments, or perhaps a Braille version even. The sky is the limit once you've got that data in there semantically. So that's another really empowering example. So last couple of concepts I wanted to talk about. Bias, of course, we're aware of this. If your training data is the whole output of human civilization, then there are going to be marginalized groups within that, and people with disabilities are, of course, such a group. So the effect here can be underrepresentation, maybe of the needs of people with disabilities, which can come out in solutions that are generated, or it might be of the nature of people with disabilities is misrepresented because of conceptions or misconceptions that exist in society. So the mitigations to this, as with so many other things, are transparency, making it, where possible, able to tell you why it made a decision, and keeping humans in the loop. And this is especially important when decisions might be made that affect people with disabilities, but they aren't part of that decision-making process. So it could be eligibility for support of some kind, for example. Let's talk about uncertainty. I don't know. You expect somebody to say, or you hope somebody to say, and sometimes it takes courage, braveness, whatever to do it, but if you don't know, it's good to say so. AI is not very good at saying when it doesn't know. Highlighting areas of low confidence in output might actually be a benefit in many circumstances, because it gives us that reassurance on the bits that it was more confident about, specifically with respect to things like speech recognition and the like. So that wouldn't on its own be a silver bullet, as they say, but some more recollection or recognition of when uncertainty creeps in could be good. So thank you very much for listening. On the slides on the web, you will find a slide at the end with some links to various things I hope you'll find interesting. Thanks very much.